Hey guys, earlier this morning, the Xbox version of PUBG received an update to the public test server. This test server is going to include a lot of the stuff that we went over a couple weeks ago regarding the new weapons, new vehicles, and just the overall improvements being added to the game with the first content update of October. For those of you that haven't used the public test server before, all you have to do is go to the Microsoft Store, search PUBG test server, and you'll be able to download that version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Anybody can use it. It's a free download. You just have to have PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on Xbox in order to download it. You'll see the normal PUBG picture, but it'll have the logo PTS on it, and that's how you'll know you're on the public test server version. Like I said, the PTS is now live, and it's available for all players that have PUBG on Xbox. This patch will be tested on the test server throughout this weekend, and then hopefully it will be going live early next week on the live servers. So let's go over the new weapons that are being introduced. The Barrel M762 is a new versatile assault rifle which spawns on Erangel, Miramar, and Sanhok. The barrel uses 7.62 ammo and has a 30-round magazine with 40 as its extended mag. It also supports upper and lower rails, allowing for scopes and a grip. The per bullet damage is lower than the AKM, but it has a higher firing rate, meaning that it has a higher DPS if you can control the kick. Another 7.62 weapon being added is the MK47 Mutant. This is also available on all maps. This gun has a 20-round capacity, which can be upgraded to 30 rounds with an extended magazine. It has two firing modes, single shot and 2-round burst. Almost all types of attachments can be used on the MK47, but it has no stock slot. So it's much like the SCAR in that way. However, this gun is the 7.62 version of the M16, where I think the barrel kind of lends itself to maybe the SCAR version of the 7.62 weapon. A lot of the PC streamers that I watch like to use these guns, so I'm definitely eager to get my hands on them and see how they perform. There's two new vehicles that are Sanhok exclusives. The Scooter, which is a 2-seat vehicle, which compared to the current motorbike, the Scooter has a much slower speed, but has increased turning circle and the same amount of hit points. This thing is basically going to be for emergency and for laughs, I think, because it's not going to really be that useful for you just because you're completely exposed and it is very slow. It does handle on the terrain very well though. The Tuckshy is a 3-person vehicle that substitutes the UAZ, the Dacia, and the minibus on Sanhok, so we should no longer see those on Sanhok on the test server. It's much slower compared to those vehicles, but it fits perfectly with Sanhok's environment, and you can actually see some of these broken down in certain parts of the map already, so it just kind of fits with the environment much better than those other vehicles. I hardly ever use vehicles on Sanhok anyway. It's kind of an emergency situation to begin with because you're not really driving around that map. You don't see that very often. So it's not going to really impact the game all that much, but it will be fun to try these things out. There's a restructuring of the BP system. They say previously we offered BP rewards based only on your ranking. Now we've restructured the system to take into account both playtime and ranking. Rewards have been restructured to equalize the differences in BP efficiency based on playing time for each map and mode. They've also changed team rewards to be shared. For example, you'll no longer receive 4 times the BP because you're playing alone in a squad game. So if you're one of those people that likes to play solo squad to farm BP, that's not going to happen for you anymore once this thing goes live. Some gameplay additions. They added a 3rd-person perspective aim camera position to options. There's 4 different options here. Reset to right shoulder, which is the default setting. The camera will always be positioned above the character's right shoulder, which I think if you don't lean or change this, if you were to soft aim or shoulder aim, the camera will be positioned above the right shoulder of your character. With this change, every time you go to soft aim, no matter if you just peek left or you changed that before, it's going to always default to that right shoulder, and I think this is what I'm going to choose just because I'm used to that, and I think that that's going to be more natural. And then if I want to adjust it and then have it peek left and go over my left shoulder, that's something I'll have to do after I've already started aiming. So many times I use the soft aim when I'm in close encounters in 3rd-person perspective, and it's on my left shoulder because that's where I've peeked last, and that kind of screws me up because I'm expecting it to be on my right shoulder by default. So I'm looking forward to this change for the 3rd-person perspective gameplay. There's also a reset to left shoulder, so it'll always go to your left shoulder by default. The latest peek shoulder, which is what we have right now, the camera position automatically moves to the direction you last leaned. And the latest aim shoulder, the camera remains in the last ADS direction. In this setting, the camera position won't be changed by leaning while not in ADS or scoping. There's some gameplay changes as well. They've added a new attachment, the laser sight. Bullet spread is reduced when hip firing and soft aiming. The laser sight fits on weapons with a lower rail slot available, taking up the grip slot. So basically any gun that has a grip, and then pistols as well, you'll be able to use this and put it on your gun, and it's going to make hip firing more accurate and the soft aiming way more accurate as well. They added the improved marker ping system that they were talking about. In the patch notes it says you use the R button to create a marker where you're aiming at the time, and that will create a marker on the compass at the top of the screen. It's not visible in the actual world, but it'll show the direction as a color and the compass at the top of the screen. Now they say the R button, I'm thinking that this is something that's been copied over from PC, so we'll have to see if that means right thumbstick or if that's just a typo, and we'll have to see exactly what button does this when we're aiming down our sights. But either way, there'll be a button that will push to make this marker show up on the compass. And basically what's going to happen is all team members can see the marker on the compass. After setting the marker, there's a 2-second cooldown before you can mark again. So you can't just spam it over and over. It's going to take 2 seconds before you can actually do that again. And the marker on the compass will automatically disappear after 5 seconds. When 2 ping markers overlap, the closest located marker will be shown at the top. And the benefit of this I explained in the initial video when they announced this. If I tell my teammate there's a guy at a tree at 255, but he is 50 yards to my left, he might actually see that enemy at west or 295, 280, something like that, where mine says 255. If he looks at 255 on his screen, he's not going to be looking at that same person. So with the marker system, what it does, it'll put a color at the top of the compass, my color, whatever color I am. Say I'm yellow. My yellow marker will show 255. His will show whatever that is compared to his number, so 280, 295, but it'll show that color so he can see exactly where I'm pointing when I made that marker. They added a new loading screen, which is a key guide, which will show the controls on the Xbox One controller. Nothing major there, just something new. And they also improved the design of the map markers. They said that it was because of the feedback of the players. Some players were getting confused of the markers being their teammates just because they look so similar, so now they should be more distinguished. In the test server, we'll be able to test out the reporting feature. Hopefully we don't have to do it too often, but you can now report a player for teaming, gameplay interference, or verbal abuse. So if somebody's trolling you, somebody's being ignorant to you, or if somebody's teaming, you notice that people are teaming, there's going to be a way to do this after the match is over. You'll be able to report those players now. Before, you can only report someone for team killing, but now we'll have more options. There's some performance changes with this PTS that they're testing out. Optimized GC, which stands for garbage collection, which is the faster rate of making the used memory to be reusable. They improve performance by adjusting on-hit effects for various materials. They improve server and client performance by optimizing the inner composition of the plane, and they increase the quality of the optimization to reduce desync. There's a whole bunch of bug fixes, so I'm going to go through them here. I might go into more detail on some if they do interest me, but I'm just going to blast through these here. They fixed an issue where tooltips from the stun grenade did not accurately reflect its in-game effects. They fixed an issue where the characters were seen moving fast while prone when moving on slopes a certain way. They fixed an issue where item mesh is sometimes difficult to distinguish from the floor in the police station in Al-Azhar and Miramar. Fix an issue where a dead player's loot box is sometimes buried in certain locations in Miramar. They fix an issue where characters can sometimes get stuck between the wall and vehicle while leaving the passenger seat when the vehicle is touching a wall. They fix an issue where in some situations in first-person perspective, players could see through walls. They fixed an issue where the sawed-off wasn't listed in the attachable weapon list tooltip of the shotgun choke. They fixed an issue where sometimes players would not get transferred to the starting plane and instead start the match from the initial spawn location. They fixed an issue where under certain conditions character models could appear stuck in the crouch position. They fixed an issue where sometimes the fuel gauge of vehicles wasn't in sync with the visual display on the dashboard. They fixed an issue where in rare instances players could be teleported to an entirely different location while on Sanhok. They fixed an issue where a character on board a vehicle would sometimes be shown as immobile in a very different location. They fixed an issue where a character who is driving in a vehicle is created in an unspecified location. They fixed an issue where the gun of the person you are spectating is sometimes not rendered, causing problems when the gun goes into ADS mode. They fixed an issue where weapons are sometimes shown in locations different from where the character is holding them. They fixed an issue where approaching a window with glass and throwing a throwable could sometimes cause the camera to temporarily zoom in and out. They fixed the issue where approaching a corpse while lying down could sometimes cause the camera to zoom in. They fixed an issue where sometimes a character standing at the very edge of the sea on Sanhok will be shown as falling out of the sky. They fixed the issue where the blue zone UI timer occasionally decreased by 2 seconds. They fixed an issue where an underwater character is unable to move to land because the terrain is showing as stuttering. They fixed the issue where colliding with an object while driving in a US deals comparably more damage than other vehicles. They fixed the issue where the firing of a gun that has been dropped and picked up again is reset to default settings. They fixed an issue where the vaulting action was not working properly with certain building windows in Sanhok. They fixed an issue where Oh boy, that was a ton of bugs. You're telling me some of those couldn't be provided in a hotfix? I don't know, but look at that list of bugs, my goodness. either way. That's a lot of things being fixed, so we'll have to keep an eye out for those. A lot of those are very specific scenarios, so I don't even know if you even tried to replicate some of those, you'd be able to do it. But hopefully, we just have to take their word for it that those are going to be resolved, and hopefully all of these additions aren't going to cause too many problems so that this can go live early next week. They wrap it up by saying, "We hope everyone can jump into the PTS to help test out the new content. As always, be sure to provide your feedback on our channels," and I'm sure you guys will, and I'm sure that's where they got half of those bugs, if not more, was from you guys reporting them. I actually reported a bug yesterday. When I was in third-person perspective, I was soft aiming and I was falling off of a ledge. When I landed, I was then stuck in that lean, and I couldn't get out of it unless I re-aimed on my sights to kind of free myself up. Otherwise, I was just stuck leaning in third-person perspective, soft aiming. So hopefully that's another bug. I reported it. Hopefully they can get that fixed. If you guys do run into anything, definitely report it. There's ways to do it on their forum. You can also reach out to PUBG Help, and if they can't do anything for you there, they'll at least tell you how you can go about reporting that and hopefully getting it fixed. But let me know what you guys think if you were able to try out the test server just yet. I wasn't able to actually test it out yet, but I wanted to get this out for you to make you aware that the test server is now live, and we should be able to test out this new content, all these new features being added, and all of the fixes. Hopefully that will just make the game better and better. But that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely give it a like and subscribe to stay up to date on everything PUBG. Remember to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. The links are in the description below. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, I'll see you later.